let's talk about PlayStation. I didn't cover this. There have been some big changes at PlayStation. The Pete Parsons departure was notable. But before that, I didn't get to make a video about this. Hermen Hulst. Hermen Hulst had this interview where he's reflecting about Concord. And he said, I would like for us, when we fail, to fail early and cheaply. PlayStation Studios head says Concord taught a big lesson. Hermen Hulst says Sony does much more rigorous testing now. Well, good. I'm glad you test games after a $400 million flop. Like one of the most embarrassing flops. You know what? Out of all the things we talked about with Concord, and I talk about it a lot, the most frustrating aspect about that is it seemed avoidable. The trailer, people knew from the second that trailer dropped that there were issues with the game where it wasn't going to resonate with people. And I'm not talking about the vacuum cleaner or the character designs, any of that stuff. People thought the story seemed stupid from that first trailer. Go look at the like to dislike. Now, Destin, if you go watch my VOD, I was like, come on, guys, let's give it a chance. And then I played it for a bit. I'm like, yeah, this is okay. And then I played it a bit more and I'm like, I don't want to play this game anymore. And unfortunately, most people agreed with me. They weren't into it. Let's read what VGC broke down here from this interview. PlayStation Studio Business Group CEO Hermen Hulst says he wants future failures to be identified and dealt with earlier in the development process. Well, they've been knocking that one out of the park because they've been canceling a lot of games early. We don't know that $400 million mark is accurate, by the way. That's the rumor number that went around because like the business had to be started and there was like a bunch of financial stuff, but it wasn't a good bet. Neither was Bungie apparently, but we'll see what happens now that Sony has taken over for the most part. In an interview with Financial Times, Hulst explained that the company had been putting in more measures to lessen the impact of any games that fail to meet its standards. Hulst's comments refer to the failure of Concord, which was reportedly in development for around 8 years and made it all the way to full release. Sure did. Before just 2 weeks after it launched, Sony announced plans to take it offline, pull the game from sale, and offer refunds to all players who bought it, citing a poor reception from fans. According to Hulst, new measures have been put in place to make sure potential problems are spotted far sooner, saying, I don't want teams to always play it safe, but I would like for us, when we fail, to fail early and cheaply. Marathon. There's an image of Marathon in this very article. I think that Pete Parsons sees the writing on the wall and he's like, I got to get the hell out of here now. I don't even know if that's his full payday, but it's still it's like $100 million or some, it's like some unfathomable amount of money that if you gave me $100 million, like I don't even know what I would do with that kind of cash. You know, my whole thing is like, I'd love to pay off the house someday. Like I was very fortunate. I have a reasonable mortgage. So yeah, but I don't know. My big dream is, in 30 years, it'll be so cool if I ever pay off the house. So if you gave me 50 million, I would do that. And then I wouldn't know I don't gamble. I wouldn't go gamble $1 million or something stupid. So yeah, Pete got out and he's probably good. We have since put in place much more rigorous and more frequent testing in very many different ways, he said. The advantage of every failure is that people now understand how necessary that oversight is. Bro, that was my big piece of feedback for Concord. I'm like, where was the internal testing? Where's the internal testing for the new game, Fair Games $? I hope they're internal testing that because Jade Raymond's gone. And yeah. Anyway, according to the report, some of the new measures include more of a focus on group testing, learning from other Sony teams, and building closer relationships between the executives who spend hundreds of hours playing games before they're released. Great. During a business briefing back in 2022, Sony Interactive Entertainment's then president Jim Ryan revealed plans to release 12 live service games by the end of its 2025 fiscal year. In this new interview, Hulst appeared to dismiss this target, saying that was more important wasn't the number of games, but their variety and quality. The number of live service releases is not so important, he said. What is important to me is having a diverse set of player experiences and a set of communities. I don't really know what to say. They're worried about player experiences. Just make a good game. The core of game design should be the 5 seconds of fun or the 3 seconds of fun. Can you loop that? Not how much money can we get out of these people? I think, and this is just my personal take, I think that Naughty Dog should have gave whatever they were making to Bungie, and Bungie should have canned Marathon. Allow them to have creative oversight, allow them to do like carve off a little silo from Naughty Dog, and let Bungie just keep it going so that they don't have to worry about the lion's share of the work. And then they do the creative. I don't know if that would have worked for them. Obviously, they made the decision not to, and they re-released all of the Last of Us games at this point. But that would have been my idea would have been to go that route, to go that strategy. And when you see the success of something like Helldivers, that wouldn't justify the Bungie purchase, though. They said they wanted to learn from Bungie, and Bungie came in and they let Naughty Dog know, hey, here's what it would take to make that work. And they basically said, yeah, we don't want to do that. And like, good on Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog knew before everybody else that, hey, yeah, this is probably a bad idea for us to do a live service, always online game. And good on them for it. Because at the end of the day, they got out, and now everybody else is getting their games canceled, and they're having layoffs. Like not the Dying Light, what was the motorcycle? Days Gone. I think it was Days Gone team. They had to suffer layoffs because they're rumored. I think they were doing the God of War one that ended up getting canceled, and God of War Ascension had a version of something like that, which is interesting. Don't worry, we're going to get Fair Games. The Fair Games is still on the earning reports. Earlier this month, Sony CFO Lin Tao said the company will learn from its live service failures, but insists that progress has been made despite them. During a Q&A session following Sony's latest financial results, Tao said that despite the negativity surrounding Sony's live service offerings, thanks to the issues with Concord and Marathon, she still believes live service games are worthwhile because they've added a revenue stream that didn't exist for the company 5 years ago. That's the thing. You know what? Sony's not looking at, like, how can we make the next great exclusive for our PlayStation console, for our PlayStation fans? They're saying, how can we make the next Helldivers 2? Because we get another one of those or two of those, and we are golden. We can make those other games. That's why they have the job posting for games coming out on other platforms. That's why they are talking to Xbox. That's why PlayStation games like Helldivers 2 are everywhere, because it's tons and tons and tons of money. And that's why their key metric, which has always been strong, monthly active users, is now the key metric. It's because a user is more likely to be converted to sale than a sale, and they'll probably get more profit off of that one user than they will off of any single PlayStation 5 that's sold. And it's just sort of crazy. The math just changed at some point. In another huge W, this is an ad-filled page, I apologize, but PlayStation Store game refunds are made easier by Sony. You can basically just open the PlayStation app, make sure it's the latest version, go to the store, hit the menu button, and then go to transaction history, and then go to request refund. So huge W for Sony on that front. And I already made a separate video about this, so I won't go on it too hard, but claimed Sony PS6 handheld console specs promise a miracle of next-gen cutting-edge processor architectures at a price that's barely enough for today's hardware. Good headline. I think the price is complete nonsense. There is no way that that thing is going to launch at the price point that they're talking about launching it. But overall, just to put a nice bow on this clip for Josh, who I don't even know if he's watching right now, I think that PlayStation obviously should have been doing better QA on their games. I hope they make the appropriate pivots. And on the refunds, that's great. On the handheld, there is no chance in reality that that thing launches at $399. I will make a video. I'm not going to do something weird like Ryan said he would eat his hat or something. I will make a video of me going to In-N-Out, and I will eat In-N-Out in my car and say, you were right, like 5 times during the video. How's that? You were right. I was wrong. You're handsome. I'm not. That's what I'll do. It's just a silly little video. But there's no way that this godlike handheld that they're describing is $399. That's my take on it. Anyway, that would be the clip for Josh if Josh ends up editing it.